All right, folks, what we have here today is a cribbage board. It's not just a regular cribbage board, it is a cribbage board with a 3D alligator or crocodile, 3D alligator or crocodile carved into the middle of it. We also have some names on here just because I'm giving this as a gift. This particular one is made out of cherry, really nice. It's about 17 inches long, it's about 6 inches wide because that's the size of wood I had, and it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, if you find yourself enjoying this kind of content and want to see more, why don't you mash down on that subscribe button? That helps us immeasurably. And then maybe punch the like button and give us a thumbs up and maybe comment and stuff. That helps us bring you more content like this. So please do that, it helps a lot. And now, due in part to the overly litigious society in which we reside, listen to my robot.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
All right, so here is the file, okay, and you can see it's an oval and it's got this 3D here in the middle. So before we get into anything else, let's go check out, what we normally first do, and that is to make sure our material is correct. So 3/4 of an inch thick, yeah, it all looks good, right? We're starting in the middle, that's where I usually start, okay. Yeah, it'll cut through, I understand that. Okay, so there we are, we can see it real good. Now I already have these over here, so it just makes it easier for us to go through these. So let's start with, the first one here, this 3D finish 1/8 inch ball nose. Okay, so here we go. And if you look, we're using an 1/8 inch ball nose. You could certainly use anything you wanted here. Obviously, the smaller the tip of the bit, the more detail that will have, that alligator, crocodile, whatever, will have. For this particular project, I'm using an 1/8 inch ball nose. That'll be good enough. It won't be super detailed, but it will be good enough. Okay. So next is model boundary. Yep, I don't want to machine everything out here, right? I just want to machine the model boundary. Okay, not the material, not selected vectors, just that whole thing there. I want to get the waves in there. I want to get the alligator in there. Okay. Raster goes back and forth. That's just the way I like to do it. Could you use offset? Yes, but I almost never do. Okay. You can try it if you want, and you're going to say, well, what's the difference? Well, machine time will be different. It's kind of an experience thing. I hate to say that because I like to give you, like concrete stuff to do, but that's kind of what it is. All right, so we're going to calculate this, and that might take a second. There you go, okay? So reset preview. Let's just preview that. And we will preview visible. So we're only going to preview this one, okay? We're not going to preview the rest of the toolpaths right now. We're just going to preview the visible one. Okay, and there you go. Look at that. Looks pretty good, honestly. Okay, so now I need to go into this. So basically, the way that I have this set up in my files is the tallest part of this crocodile that sits up is equal to the top of the chunk of wood, right? So let's look at this. If we look at it super from the side, you can see that it's right there, right? Right here, right there. It's right there. So that's the way I have this set up. Again, you can set yours up differently. Maybe you want it inset a little bit. I thought about doing this, taken down everything all the way across the whole oval board and just letting this sit proud. You can do that. you would just basically put a box around that and machine that all down. I went with this one. I think this one will be good. Okay, so there we go. We have that machined out. Now, the outer profile of the crocodile. This one's going to require a little bit of explanation. So when we do this in a raster format, right, that bit's going to go back and forth across here 1,000 times, however many times it is. Okay, and that will leave a ripple effect on the walls all the way around here, right? If we go back to the 3D deal, right along the outside here there'll be a bunch of, it'll look like teeth marks or whatever. So what are we going to do? We're going to go around this outer profile, and we're going to just go around and cut that straight, all right? So it gives us a nice smooth finish around the outside. So that's what I'm doing. Cutting it on. So I'm on that, and that will actually give me 2 millimeters. It'll cut into it 2 millimeters because I'm using a 4 millimeter bit, right? So that'll straighten it all out. How did you come up with the cut depth? I went back to the other one, and the toolpath that cuts the crocodile, and I read to where the deepest it goes, and that's what I used right there. Okay, so that goes around. That one's pretty easy. Holes, next one, big one, holes. That's all these holes for the pins. Okay, now let's look at that. Okay, cut depth, 0.27. How did you come up with a 0.27 cut depth? Well, here's how I did that. I experimented a little bit with the pegs that I use, and I buy my pegs off of Amazon. You can get for $5 you can get 20 pegs, whatever. Okay, and I measured those pegs. You can measure the diameter of the pegs because they're tapered, right? And you can find out where they're 1/8 inch in diameter, because I'm using an 1/8 inch end mill. I'm actually using a drill bit on mine, but it doesn't matter. You'll notice this is a drilling path, okay? So, and I'm going about 1/4 inch deep because that's what fits my pegs, okay? Your pegs may be different. Maybe you want to use a different size hole. Maybe you want to use the hole deeper or shallower, whatever, okay? Now, as long as I'm here, I'll explain this to you. Peck drilling. If you're drilling a deep aspect hole, aspect is the ratio of the diameter of the drill bit to the depth that you're drilling a hole. Mine isn't too bad, right? I'm going about 1/4 inch deep, and I got about an 1/8 inch drill bit, so my aspect is 2. I'm going twice as deep as the drill bit is in diameter. I know from experience I can do that with the drill I use and the speeds and feeds I use. I can do that without a problem. In other words, it goes down there once. It drills the hole in one fell swoop. If you use peck drilling, you can tell it, maybe you're going deeper than that, and you need to clear those chips out of the bottom of the hole as you're drilling the hole, right? So maybe you don't want to do it in one just deep plunge to 1/4 inch. Maybe you want to do it in 2, right? So it'll drill a 1/8 of an inch, then it'll retract that drill bit out as far as you tell it here. Just retract right here, okay? It'll retract that drill bit, and because the drill bit's spinning really fast, it'll fling off the chips, the waste, the part that it cut out, and then you can go back and drill it again with a nice clean drill bit. Again, because of this particular one, I don't have to do that. I might as well tell you about the dwell at the bottom of the hole. Maybe you want it to go down, and it's a very tight tolerance hole or something, and you want it to go down to the depth, and you want it to sit there for a little bit. Okay, well, you can tell it how far to sit there. Okay, you can also tell it, what order you want to drill it in. Or you can tell it to project the toolpath onto a 3D model. This one's a little bit more involved. Let's say that you're not drilling it onto a flat surface. Okay, maybe you're making one of those wavy American flags, and you want each hole to be the same depth from the top of the material, not the same depth in general, but from the top of the material. Maybe you want each hole to be a 1/4 inch deep. It knows you can project that toolpath onto a 3D model, and it will know, because the 3D model will tell it, where the actual material starts, right? Maybe you're at the bottom of one of the wavy flags instead of the top. Okay, it'll know that if you project that onto a 3D toolpath, or a 3D model, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a whole nother video that I'm not going to go into now. I'll just give you that executive summary of how that works. Okay, so those are the holes. Oval outer profile. Okay, basically cutting this thing out. It's going to go around and cut that nice oval out. Okay, so let's look at that toolpath. We're going 0.85. That's 100 thousandths deeper than the thickness that we set up over here in the material. That's probably too much. I'll have to change that. We're going to use a 6mm drill bit. We're going to go on the outside. We're going to use some tabs, and you can see where I have the tabs set, because if this comes out of a rectangular piece, right, and I'll put a clamp 1, 2, 3, 4, this will, each one of these tabs will hold this here material to the part that I'm clamping on, if that makes sense. These are the size of my tabs. It doesn't really matter. It just holds it. You'll also notice that I do this after I drill all those holes and stuff, or after, especially since after I do the crocodile, just because it's being held on with the tabs. What I would normally do is this here. That would be the last thing I do, is cut that out. All right, names. I'm making this as gifts for a gift for friends of mine, John and Diane. This is fairly self-explanatory, right? But I'm going to do a VCarve. I'm going to use a 60-degree bit, and I'm going to VCarve their names in there. That's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. All right. So there you go. That pretty much, tells you how this thing's going to work. If we do this, and we go to here, and we reset the toolpath, and we preview all the toolpaths, right? All of them. That's what it's going to look like. See, their names are here. That's sunken in, right? See how that comes down here? And it's got the nice smooth corners on it. And then you have all of these holes that are, let's look at it straight from the top here, that are punched in. Those holes are pretty close, so be a little careful there. If you make this bigger or smaller than I make it, you can size it, with the size tool right over here. And I just made it to an average size of some material that I know I have lying around here. Watch those holes. Those holes can get pretty close depending on your particular size of your particular diameter of the holes and your particular size of your material here. So just keep an eye on that. Okay. All right. So there we go. Explain to you, it's fairly straightforward, although some people get a little bound up on the 3D stuff. So let's go into the shop now and cut this guy out.
Okay, here's that cherry. I have her all clamped down. You can see it's bigger than I need it because I wanted to be able to get the clamps on there. And I have my spindle zeroed to where I need it to be zeroed. But I want to talk a little bit about that. As you recall, when we did the CAD, we have a number of different bits we're going to use in here. And we saved those programs each individually so that it lessens the chance I'll screw it up. So the X and Y will remain the same, and that's important because you want to get everything lined up on the board for all of the bits we use, but we'll have to reset the Z every time because we don't know how far the bit is sticking out of the collet You know, the 6mm one I use is super long, and then the engraving one I use is short, so we have to reset the Z's on those. So instead of, I do that on every one of my videos. I know it's very boring for you guys to watch, so you know, I won't do it here. But we have over at the computer, I decided to do the 1/8 inch drill bit ones first, and then we'll do the carve, and then we'll do the outside of that. So I have the 1/8 inch drill bit one set up in the machine, and we'll run that. Looks like cycle time is about 23 minutes. That's a lot of holes. All right, let's start that. All right, as I said, I'm just going to use some poly. This is fast dry, warm setting, and a brush. You got to make especially sure you get down into the corners here, because that's kind of a sharp corner. If I had this to do over again, I would have used a ball end mill down there, but you know, just kind of went around it with a ball end mill. But I don't have it to do over again, so you learn something every time you make something for the first time. Experience is something you get right after you need it. All right, get the edges. And I'm not gonna get the bottom this time. I'm gonna have to wait till the top dries, and then I'll go on the bottom, then I'll sand it with some 320, maybe 400, and then I will put on the second coat. So pretty straightforward. All right, couldn't be happier with the way this thing turned out. I think this will make a marvelous gift. The people I'm giving it to are down in Florida, and they talk about gators a lot, so that's what I got there. Anyhow, turned out great. I did tweak the CAD a little bit for the holes, just to kind of straighten those out a little bit. You know, you can resize this, but I go into that in the CAD, how you do that. You got to resize them separately a little bit so that your carving can come out correct. But anyhow, I think this is a fantastic gift. It's about $1.50 in materials and what, maybe an hour in carving this thing. So great gift, turned out fantastic. If you have other ideas, you can certainly put whatever you want in the middle or nothing at all. And of course, you know, change the names as you see fit. If you like this kind of stuff, please like and subscribe. Button's right down there. It doesn't cost you anything. Keeps letting me bring you free files and such like that. All right, thanks again for joining me. We'll see you on the next one.